Freddy Krueger.
Hannibal Lecter.
Leatherface.
Michael Myers.
Bob's Big Boy.
Bob's Big Boy?
Hey there, this is Jason Bromley, and you're listening to Talking Poop, a podcast where we talk about movies, music, and media. Some of it we love, some of it we hate. We're here today with my co-host, award-winning filmmaker, Sterling Smith.
Hey-o!
Over here nursing a Dos Equis tall boy is my homeboy, Eddie Valenzuela. Say what's up, Eddie.
What's up?
And joining us for the first time, the very lovely, the very talented Vivian Vengeance.
Hello, Clarice.
People will say we're in love.
First, what scares the shit out of you? Like, sharks scare the ever-loving shit out of me.
I'm with you.
Jaws has kept me out of the ocean. As a kid, I would stay close to the beach. Now, as an adult, I'm like, fuck it. It's not even worth it. I'm staying out of the water.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Deep Blue Sea must have really done a number on you.
Deep Blue Sea was kind of stupid. Like, that didn't scare me. But Jaws scared me.
No, I disagree. Come on. They put these super brains in these fucking great white sharks. Like, come on.
I feel like I could, like, talk my way out of it if the shark was smart. Like, if he had a super brain.
They're not.
I'd be like, sharks, fucking Chipotle burritos are delicious. They taste way better than I am. Let's talk about something else.
I think you would have to have a Chipotle burrito on hand for the shark to test.
Ooh.
Because if you don't have it, shark's not going to believe you no matter how smart they are.
I've always said I'm not going to get eaten by a shark because they're going to get just a mouthful of shit as soon as they try to bite me because I'm going to poop.
You go inside the cage. Cage goes in the water. You go in the water. Shark's in the water. Our shark.
All right, so the dictionary describes horror as an intense feeling of fear, shock, or disgust. Why is that something that we want?
I think we just want to be brought out of our element, and I know that's why I really love watching horror movies and getting that adrenaline spike, because who wants to watch normal life things when you experience that every day?
But don't you get that from like a romantic comedy? Why do you want to? Don't you feel tortured? Don't you feel like a little bit dirty after you watch a horror movie?
Yes, and I love it. I mean, I'm going to school right now. I want to be brought out of my real life. I want to feel like this exam that I'm taking isn't as scary as someone getting chased by Leatherface or, you know, a mummy or zombies.
Okay, but you're like a nursing student who's like prime candidate to be murdered in real life. So why would you want to watch a movie about what could actually happen to you? Doesn't it scare the ever-living shit out of you to even go outside?
It rubs the lotion on its skin. It does this whenever it's cold.
No, it doesn't scare me because I guess it just gives me, once again, a different perspective, I would have to say.
You have the one thing that killers want, and that's a vagina. And you're outside with a vagina. How do you feel comfortable going outside with a vagina?
I'm so scared.
A census worker tried to analyze me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
That was good.
Okay, that's just such a quotable, great movie.
Eddie, let's hear your favorite horror movie bad guy and see if Sterling can do an impression.
Okay.
I'd like to see an impression of this one. To me, just anything that you can't see, man. Like in a lot of the ghost films.
That's not a bad guy.
It's still a monster.
Is a ghost a monster?
I mean,
Depends on the ghost.
Demonic entity.
So yeah, The Exorcist would be a monster. Sort of?
Kinda, sorta.
Is the little girl a monster? Or
If she's a brat, then yeah.
What was the name of the monster in that? The demon? It was Captain Pickles or something?
I don't remember the name of the demon.
We're the worst movie podcast. Why would anyone want to listen to us?
They find that we don't know what we're talking about, and then they're in their car or their room, and they're like, "Oh, it's this," and then they can feel good about themselves knowing that they know more than these guys.
So call into us, email to us, let us know the name of the demon and The Exorcist.
Yeah, that'll work. We need to set up an email for people to send us questions and
Tell us how stupid we are.
Yeah, why not?
And none of us have the titties to become famous on social media.
I don't know. Mine are getting pretty good.
Mine are getting more firm. But that's because I do a lot of bench pressing now.
Right. I do a lot of nipple tightness exercises. Eddie, how are your nipples, buddy?
Find out for yourself.
Wow.
I'm going to go ahead and pass. Because that'll be my new movie monster. Eddie's nipples in Scary Tits. I don't know. All right, Eddie, give us a real movie monster. Stop saying stupid stuff.
So mean.
The thing that messed me up the most would be the piranhas from the movie Piranha.
All right, that's
Like,
still not a movie monster, but we're getting a little closer.
dude, well, I don't know. A lot of them just look so cool. Like, I'm more like, I admire them more than anything.
What do you want? You admire the fish
No.
in Piranha?
No.
I've got my impression ready of the piranha.
Okay, let's hear your piranha.
I am a piranha. Come on, Finding Nemo.
That's your second Finding Nemo reference. You were cut off, sir. No more Finding Nemo references for the rest of this podcast.
Why not?
Or in the future of our podcast, unless we're doing Talking Poop about Pixar. I don't want to hear another
Finding Nemo is a great family film and great wholesome entertainment for the whole
We're
family.
talking about horror movies.
Just keep swimming, Jason.
Where's the button to shut off his mic? And you're coming up next, Vivian. Eddie, do you have an answer that's not retarded?
Jeez. Let him say the piranhas.
Honestly, no.
If
Can I pass? Come back to me.
All right, I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass because you're giving me a headache. Sterling.
Vivian took mine. Hannibal Lecter by far.
I got another, though.
Hannibal Lecter to me is the perfect movie villain.
The perfect movie
He's
villain.
the perfect movie villain.
Why is that?
He gets away with it.
He does get away with it, yeah, through 3 movies.
Yep.
Worth of getting away with it.
That's how you can tell that
Well, wait a minute, he's in prison, though. That's not getting away with anything.
at the end of Hannibal, he gets away. At the end of Silence of the Lambs, he gets away.
Oh, touche.
Yeah.
After he makes the freaking batwing carcass out of that poor guy.
Wears the face on his face,
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
but not in a creepy way.
It's pretty bad.
What do you think the inside of somebody's face smells like?
Probably a mixture between a booger and earwax.
I don't know what either of those smell like, but I'm going to go with nachos.
No, but really, no one's talked about creatures, and I think that my favorite creature is from A Quiet Place. I know. Maybe a few of us have yet to see that, but those
Yeah, well,
monsters...
spoiler alert, they didn't show anything in the trailer other than people going, shh, and okay, from the trailer, we're not going into like spoiler territory here.
Okay.
But in the trailer, she's in the bathtub.
Yes.
And there's something in the bathroom with her.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to be quiet because they can hear. And she's going, that's not being quiet. Like, they're going to eat her fucking head.
If you watch the movie, you'll know why.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so,
that's
all
a
right.
huge part of the story.
They
Alright, so I'm
they
uneducated
did
then.
such a good job at implementing everything in normal everyday life that would require you to be loud
Yes.
and you having to resist doing it. It was very well done. It's very weird seeing the guy from The Office who plays pranks on Dwight.
Well, I was
And
going to
he's
say,
still
luckily,
just as sexy.
I was going to say, luckily they had Jim from The Office so that he can just like look at the camera and be like,
I just want to look at
Yeah.
him.
Vivian's all getting hot and bothered over here.
She
started,
yeah.
first it was Hannibal Lecter. She wanted him to eat some of her, and then now she's talking about Jim from The Office.
Hey, horror floats my boat, man. No, but really, the monsters are so scary and so good, and you need to get your ass to a theater and see it, because it is...
I have it to watch. All right. It's,
Well, the monsters won't disappoint, I will say that.
Yeah, they set
say
the
that.
tone. They set the tone very well at the very
but
beginning.
am I going to be disappointed? Because
No.
seeing the movie in the theater, that to me, I mean, the surround sound in an audience, like, you feel the horror when you're in a theater.
It's true.
And it takes it away from when you see it on.
But here's what you do: turn out all the lights, focus completely on the movie. If you have headphones that you can connect to the TV, turn it up so that you can actually get the experience of kind of the loudness that's going on.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get totally naked. I'm going to put some popcorn kernels in my belly button. And when that stuff starts popping, you guys start eating. And it's going to be a smorgasbord of Jason. What do you guys say?
Fair enough.
Moist.
And he's like, I'll try it.
No,
I'll
Eddie.
try anything once.
Eddie is saying whatever happens, happens.
I'm not afraid to die.
No popcorn's going to scare me.
That's only got my answer though. For my favorite monster or scary monster, whatever. The Jeepers Creepers.
Ooh.
That
Scarecrow.
It's a good one. It's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty scary.
I'll bet the Wizard of Oz was just too much for you, huh?
He's not a literal scarecrow.
Those flying monkeys,
He's a creature.
Man,
Oh, yes, the flying monkeys? Oh, that's
it's all
no
funny games
joke.
until they attack.
No, but yeah, the Scarecrow and Jeepers Creepers, that is pretty good.
He's not a scarecrow. God damn it, it's really.
Yeah,
he's
is.
a monster with
It's a
wings.
Scarecrow.
He's not a scarecrow. He's not made out of straw.
Jason,
He hung out.
just
Let it happen.
come to reality. Just come to reality, Jason. Say it with me. Scarecrow.
He's not a scarecrow, Sterling.
Scarecrow.
He's never scared a crow in his life. I think the scariest movie monster is the Alien and the Thing, the remake with John Carpenter's The Thing.
It's pretty good.
Kurt Russell. That monster scared the ever-loving shit out of me. When he takes over those dogs, that was gnarly. Plus, it's dogs, so like I can't see a dog get hurt. If a person gets hurt, that's cool, but I don't want to see a dog
Not
die.
the dogs.
Yeah, and then just the idea, like there's so much tension in that scene when they're all tied together and they're testing the blood and they're putting the hot coil in the blood.
Ugh.
And they know that one of them is the alien and it's going to react when they touch the blood. Ugh, that's serious terror. That's like the buildup, and then the payoff is freaking huge.
I don't know what the hell's in there, but it's weird and pissed off, whatever it is.
Did you guys see Annihilation?
Yes.
I haven't seen that yet. I know you said that that's one of the ones you want me to see. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, there's this thing that's happening now where science fiction is almost doing horror better than horror is doing horror.
Yeah.
And Annihilation was one of those. I think The Quiet Place is the same kind of thing where it's like mixing science fiction almost with horror stuff.
Very much so. Very much so. In fact, there's another good one on Netflix right now called Pandorum that's a blend of the two, and it's just the opening scene, and that is terrifying. I agree with you very much.
Well, look at what they did with Event Horizon. I mean, that was late 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and that's one of those ones that I always say, like, I came out of that movie, out of the theater, and I was glad that it was daylight outside.
Well, yeah, you were scared out of your mind when you came out of it.
It was, but that was one of those ones that doesn't translate when I tell people to watch it now and they see it on like TV. They're like, that was awful. Why did you recommend that to me? And it's such a good movie.
Well, maybe if they watched it on a big screen with a lot of surround sound.
That's the thing, is that movie builds such a creepy atmosphere. The ship in Event Horizon is the creepiest place to be.
It's true.
And having an environment that feels unescapable is very scary to me.
Well, yeah, it's cast about The Shining. It was a labyrinth. It was a place where you really felt like you were confined to the area. You couldn't really leave.
That's why Amityville Horror never scared me, because I'm like, go the fuck outside.
Go to your neighbors.
Yeah, go to a hotel room, anything.
Drive away.
Yeah, like, why are you
It's
staying
true.
in this place?
Yeah, why are you going up the stairs to investigate? Shouldn't you be calling the police right now? And I think that's one of the things that kind of ruins a horror film. They take away the true element of what people are going to do in those scenarios. I have not met one person go into danger like that. People just, they're like, nope, calling the police, I'm getting out.
Well, this is one of the horror movie tropes that's real, is that, like, I'm a father of two little kids. I got a 5-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. And I always said when I was a kid watching horror movies, the parents never listened to the kid when they're like, Mom, Dad, I saw the most horrific monster in the bathroom. And the parents are like, oh, no, that's not a real thing. Monsters aren't real. I'm like, I will believe my kids when they tell me there's a monster. My kids tell me there's a monster every night in their bed, and I'm like, shut up and go to sleep. It's not real. But really, I'm afraid that there is a monster in their closet, and that's why I won't look in the closet to investigate it for them.
Kind of like that scene in the first Saw movie, where the little girl was talking about the guy in her closet.
Yes.
And he kept saying, there's nobody in your closet, there's nobody in your closet. And then later on, when the lights are out, suddenly you see the eyes on the other side, and it's just like, oh,
So
that was really scary. But they've implemented so many horror elements into stories like that now that you can't really tell if it's a horror film or it's a thriller film. It's kind of like what they did in the late 90s, like I Know What You Did Last Summer. They say, oh, it was a horror film. No, kind of really wasn't. It was more like a thriller. So, you know, what really classifies as horror and what just classifies as a thriller fake horror?
I proposed to my wife in the Chili's parking lot after seeing I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Classy, right?
My first,
I don't have that wife anymore.
my first, one of my first dates I went on was to go see I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, weird. We grew up in the same town.
We
were
did.
probably your first date could have been the day that I proposed to my high school girlfriend.
Maybe.
Which was one of the worst mistakes of my life.
You know what? We learn from our mistakes. We move on.
How did that first date turn out?
Well, I'm not married to her, so I spent money on somebody else's wife.
How often have we done that, right, Eddie?
No, but really, even the Alien movies, would you consider that sci-fi or was that horror?
That is a very, like the first Alien movie, I loved their tagline. In space, they can't hear you scream. I think that's how the tagline went. Mm-hmm. Or in space, no one can hear you scream. That was a great tagline.
Have any of you guys seen The Ruins?
Yes, I had seen that. Actually, I think it might have been on Netflix for a while, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
The Ruins, though, made me feel icky inside.
Yeah.
Like the vines getting underneath your skin.
Oh, yeah, it was on Netflix. Yes. Oh, nasty.
Yeah,
yes.
that scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, and it just, like an infection, like that motif of, like, the infection, that scares me. The idea of just being defenseless against some type of infection, so that got to me.
That gets me too, and like they never address that in zombie movies.
Yes.
Where it's like an infection that turns them into zombies, and they say that the bite is what infects you, but really, like, it would be the blood or any like bodily fluid got on you, you'd be a freaking zombie.
Yeah.
And they're always showing them like killing these zombies and getting splashed in the face with blood. And it's like,
not even
yeah,
a
that
thing.
went in your eye.
Well,
or in your mouth.
they started that in The Walking Dead, where they were saying, "Don't get it in your eyes, don't get it on your skin," and so they would have to.
The Walking Dead was the worst. That was where they covered themselves.
No.
in gunk,
Oh, yeah, and just
which would
walk
instantly
through the
make
horde.
you vomit. Yeah, and then they just walk through. The bad guys are like, you don't know.
But they didn't
I'm
get
a
any.
zombie.
They didn't get any on their skin, in their eyes, and
It's
they
all over their skin. They put it all over their
Yeah,
face.
No, they
There's that
did.
one
No, they did
scene.
that later.
They rub it in their
No,
eyes.
they
in
didn't.
the first episode.
No, they
Glenn.
didn't. It wasn't. They did not put it, and they actually said specifically, "Do not put this on your skin. Don't get it in your eyes."
So wrong.
I am totally
Rick
right.
and Glenn do it in the opening,
But they didn't do it on their
pilot.
face. They did it later in the series.
They put
but
it in their
didn't
mouth.
do
They rubbed it on
no,
their
they didn't.
tongues.
What? No, they didn't do that.
Okay, they didn't do that, but I'm
Like,
just
come
trying to
on.
prove my point that Sterling's wrong.
Oh no, this time I'm right.
Well, that brings me to another thing I had actually wanted to mention during this podcast, which, has anyone here seen The Strain?
I haven't. I've heard it's
Oh,
awesome.
Strain.
It's vampires, right?
Yeah, it's vampires. It is so good. It's a show that's based on the novels written by Guillermo del Toro, which I didn't even know he was an author until I had seen this show. But it is so good, especially if you're like me and you're into like pathology or you're going into healthcare. But it's literally a show about what would happen to humanity if there's some raging infection, which in this case is vampirism, and it is so good. The virus is basically manifested as a parasite. So we're going back to that idea of what happens if you get, fluid on you, or it gets in your skin or in your eyes somehow. That is a huge premise in this show of people getting infected and turning into vampires. Is when
If you hump a vampire, do you turn into a vampire?
No, and that's actually the story of one of the characters in a show. So
Really?
you should watch it.
All right.
So
I'm all over it.
in The Strain, it's not a matter of being bit by a vampire. You can get infected in other ways.
Yes, the parasites, I guess, in the show, they're in the blood of the strigoi. That's what they call the vampires. And these worms, if they get in your eye, or if you ingest them somehow, or they get under your fingernail, you get infected and you're just a ticking time bomb. And it shows the nasty makeup effects of them literally transforming from the inside out into a vampire, into essentially like a giant parasite with a hive mentality. Oh, it's so good.
Do they turn into like big, glowy, glittery vampires that sparkle in the sun and get all like suave and
No.
start dating teenage girls?
Duh, I like what you did there. No, these are literally like, it's a very different take on a vampire and on a monster, and the nature of them being parasites. It's amazing. And in that show, I think there's literally something for everybody. But I would consider it is a little bit more thriller, horror, mystery kind of story.
Right on. Is it continuing right now, or is it over?
No, they just finished it, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because now it's all out there, so you can go binge watch it. It's
So they closed it out. The
good.
story's over.
The story's over, but it could not be more satisfying.
You
I
said
like-
you said it was on Hulu.
Yes, it's on Hulu.
Okay. Well, anybody with a Hulu account, check it out. The Strain.
So good.
Is it Hulu Plus or just anybody can watch it?
Anybody can watch it.
Hey man, I'm trying. If we're gonna talk about this, we should tell
I'm a
people how to
college
get to
student
it.
on a budget. I'm all over that free shit.
I hear that.
That is one that I think if you're into horror films or movie makeup, that is a good one.
I am an unemployed 40-year-old, so I am more than happy to watch things for free.
Jason,
That's me.
top 5 favorite horror films.
We've already talked about it. I've kind of been going through my list. So I'm going to go top 5 last 10 years because it's too hard if you go through like all-time top 5. But I'm going to say The Ruins, The Conjuring freaking scared the hell out of me. That was the scariest ghost story since The Shining for sure. And I like The Conjuring 2 also. It was really scary. And I love that they add just that little bit of realism to it by using the Warrens, who were actual paranormal investigators, and the whole thing with the Annabelle doll, that was real, except for it was a Raggedy Ann doll in real life. They also went and investigated the Amityville Horror House, and they were the ones that got the photo on the stairway. That is the only thing from Amityville that truly freaks me out and I cannot explain, is there's a photo of them on the stairwell, and there's like a little kid on the background looking around the corner. And it's so terrifying. That's a scary picture. Let's see. The new It was terrifying. And the opening scene where he's talking to Pennywise in the sewer, that whole scene is so tense because you know something bad's about to happen. And then you get the payoff because they actually show that little kid get his arm ripped off. And you're just like, oh my God, that was gnarly. And then that movie just kept going. Like, they just kept showing you horrible images, even when it wasn't Pennywise. When they show like that lady in the picture, oh man, that messed me up. Like, I still have nightmares about that. Yeah,
what if that was my
losing
kid?
a child, to me right now, that's the scariest thing. Like, you can do anything to me but hurt my kids, and that's like too much. And that's funny, I used to not have that at all. Like, I could watch kids getting tore up all day, they didn't bother me. I was like, yeah, that's what you get, you little bastards. But now, like, it really bothers me when I see a kid get hurt.
It's that paternal instinct.
Yeah,
It's that feeling you get just when, you know, anybody who's ever had kids, they know that feeling. You just, it's almost automatic. Now that you have kids, you see stuff like that in movies and it gets you tense. It puts that fear in it because you're viewing it in a proxy. What if that was my kid? I don't know how I'd be able to handle that. So I think that's a terrifying thing, putting that in movies. And A Quiet Place definitely has that element of fear with the children involved. So that's gonna be something fun for you to do.
all right, I'm checking that out. I'm checking out The Strain.
Yes.
I already mentioned Annihilation. That one is like so sci-fi, but it scared me, man. Like, the idea that something could come from space and then begin to change the Earth, and it's almost like that. It's that virus sensibility where, like, you can't run from it, you can't hide from it. It's in the air, and it's going to get into you, and it starts changing. It changes the animals, it changes the environment, and it eventually changes the people, to the point where the people don't want to be. It's like if the world turns into vampires or whatever. Like in I Am Legend.
Ooh, that's
All
a
the
good
vampires are trying to get to this guy who's a human being, and they tell him, we're not the monsters, you're the monster.
Because you're taking our people and you're experimenting on them and you're doing these horrible things to them.
No. I'm talking about the book. The Will Smith movie can go fuck itself.
Okay.
I'm talking about the novel by Richard Matheson. In that novel, the vampires were trying to get at this guy to change him into a vampire because he was the disgusting thing now. They had evolved and become the monster in that, which they called a vampire, but it was just like this new organism. But it wasn't like they became a mindless monster. They thought of themselves as better now, that they had evolved from humanity, that humanity was the disgusting thing that they had to wipe out by turning him.
Okay, gotcha.
And the way they did it, through pussy. They got a chick to be all naked and hot, and he brought her in thinking that she was still human, and then she turned him because she was a dirty bitch vampire.
You know, interestingly enough, you bring that up. The use of female anatomy in horror films. They did it in The Predator. I've heard people say that the movie Alien, like all the movie Aliens, has a lot to do with.
Wait a minute, you have to explain yourself. You can't just say they used the female body in Predator.
Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was in that. There was no female bodies.
It wasn't the female bodies. It was when his mouth opened up the way it opened up.
Are you saying the Predator's mouth is a vagina?
I would have
curtains.
I would have to go back and find the reference.
I've never seen a vagina that had 4 teeth on it, and if I did, I certainly wouldn't get near it.
Have you seen that movie Teeth? That's freaking.
Oh, teeth messed me up so bad.
I'm like, I don't want to have teeth.
I'll find the references on those. I'll get back to it. But I actually heard somebody talking about the vagina in horror movies.
Well, I mean, to kind of piggyback off of that, I feel like there's a lot of pregnancy in horror movies, which is terrifying because it's already a terrifying thing to go through or potentially go through as a woman. But, they always, play on that birthing a half human, half monster, or, pregnant with something that could destroy you from the inside out. That's
the Fly.
Yeah, I was going to say The Fly when she gives birth to the larva.
Yeah. I mean, come on. That's got to make you cringe. So I can kind of see why female anatomy, may be used as a disgusing thing.
As a catalyst for...
Yeah.
I'm saying it like you guys are saying, like there's a vagina. What am I trying to say when something's like something else?
Comparison.
Metaphor?
Yeah, metaphor. Yeah, like, there's a metaphor between like the Predator's mouth and a vagina, and I can see that. But for me, when they use like nudity to like entice you, like vampire nudity, like the chicks in Bram Stoker's Dracula when they get all up on Keanu Reeves, and you're like, why would he just let them just suck on his blood like that? They were really hot. One of them was Monica Bellucci. I would probably let them suck my blood.
Or like Lost Boys. There's a lot of sexy male vampires in that as well.
And then, sexy male vampires is always a thing. Why is that always a thing?
I think you have to be a woman to understand
Jason,
that.
it goes back to what we were saying about The Shining before, about the young, beautiful woman appearing.
Yeah, that too. That I think freaked me out too. Because
and then once they've got you, see them for what they truly are.
That is the muse thing, pulling the sailors in, and then eating them.
Siren song.
Siren.
That's how I would get killed, because if I see a naked girl, I can't think straight. And that's how the monster could get me. Freddy Krueger, I'm going to be like, his burnt ass ain't getting anywhere near me. I'm going to run. But if she was naked, I'd be like, I should run. She's scary, but she's got boobies and I like it. Then I'd get killed.
So I guess the movie Species was really
terrifying. Was really hard for me to watch because I was like, isn't it kind of worth it? Like, yeah, she's going to eat you, but she does bone you first. It's not like she, pulls the carpet out from under you at the last second. Like, you get the bone zone before you die.
Yep.
Is it worth it? I say yes. Eddie?
Yeah, sure. I mean...
You would get boned to death.
Species like Permantas that go for it.
Whatever happens, happens.
Whatever happens. If this piece doesn't work out...
So self-sacrificing.
Oh, wow.
That's definitely where you want to go, right?
Right, that's how I want to go, is being eaten alive by a horrible monster succubus. That was hot for a minute.
Oh, my.
But I'd like to think that I'd roll out like Conan. Like, she turned gross while I was rocking her, and I'd be like, throw this bitch in the fire.
Only in The Shining.
In The Shining?
Only in The Shining.
She gets him in The Shining.
No, that's... You're saying in the midst of it, you see her for what she is, and then you throw her in the fire.
Right, but Conan did it like a boss. In The Shining, he just kind of ran away and went to his happy place and hid for a little while.
Is that your top 5?
Nope, I got one more.
One more.
VHS. I thought was super freaking
VHS
scary.
Was good,
and it had some stuff that I'd never seen in it before. The one that disturbs me the most, though, is because it's like a vignette of different stories, so it's almost like short stories. And that first one with the girl in the hotel room that was being all quiet, and she wanted to she liked that one guy. She kept whispering into him and stuff. And then she was like a weird succubus. Again, the nudity thing sucks me in. I'm sorry.
But even in the beginning, she looked kind of off, and
she did. She looked weird, but at the same time, you're like,
I guess she was making it easy. So
after a Dos Equis tall boy, I'd try it.
Wow, that was pretty freaky.
That was super freaky. And yeah, so I got to change my original answer. The scariest movie monster is boobies.
Boobies.
Anything with boobies.
Anything with boobies.
Predator's vagina mouth.
Predator's vagina mouth.
Yep.
Okay, Vivian, top 5.
I have to say, like I said, I think Silence of the Lambs is really great. The Descent is really great. I do think Deep Blue Sea is pretty damn scary. I mean, they're putting these genius brains in these 2,000-pound shark bodies. That is terrifying, and there's gore anyways.
There's a good message in that the pathway to hell is littered with good intentions. Mm-hmm. They were trying to find the cure for Alzheimer's disease, and they use these sharks to turn them into super intelligent sharks just to try to find the cure. And
LL Cool J showed us that no matter how much of a badass you are, you can still cook yourself in your own oven.
It's true.
And have a pet parrot.
and get really angry when they kill your parrot.
Yep.
My sister actually met LL Cool J. He was broke down in his trailer on the side of the road in Flagstaff, and she stopped and she called me and she was like, all these people are like knocking on his door and he's like signing autographs and stuff. And I was like, quick, get your copy of Deep Blue Sea, which is super fucking weird because she had it in the trunk of her car.
Oh.
That is weird.
She was carrying it around with her, which was super weird, but sort of serendipitous. And she went up and she was like, what should I tell him? And I was like, ask him to sign your movie. My hat is like a shark's fin, LL Cool J. And he didn't do that. And apparently he was super pissed when she asked him to do it.
What?
Yeah. And he was like, and then she was like, trying to change the subject. She's like, what was it like working with the parrot? And he's like, it was hard. Next person.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's my LL Cool J story.
Nice.
Hard. It was hard. Well, let's see. What else was really good to me? I think 30 Days of Night is kind of underrated.
Yeah.
The vampires in that are really scary to me. Can we sense a common theme here?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
But no, the idea that they have 30 days to murder you instead of one night.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary.
So why would you want to live in Alaska?
Well, it's supposed to be beautiful, but not when vampires
Not when vampires are coming out,
And
no.
it's freezing and cold, and there's no resources. Yeah, no.
You would
But
think that
thank
during
God
that time...
for Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, it's true.
Self-sacrificing bastard. What else? Like I said, I feel like there's just so much ground to cover.
And it doesn't have to be in the last 10 years. It can be
recent.
overall.
I mentioned A Quiet Place, which was really good. I feel like I can still watch Alien and it'll give me chills and scare me and get me thinking about things.
You have a theme with vampires and with strong women in movies, I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great to have a strong female perspective because, people think that, well, it's a generalization anyways, that men are stronger physically. So I like to see women in films using cunning or, other ways to like outsmart these monsters.
Well, and horror was the first genre to do that, really, to let a woman be the hero of the story.
It's so empowering, and even things like Rosemary's Baby, you have a female protagonist dealing with something really terrifying. So I do like to see that, definitely.
Aliens is a great example of that.
Yes. Fantastic. The scene where the alien baby is like, it's still so good. So good.
Well, you mentioned the cunning, using the mind because, men have the brute strength. Women have to use something else, and that's why I love the name. Her name's Ripley in Aliens, right?
Yes.
How she, blows the hole in the side of the ship to get the alien out. I mean,
She doesn't blow a hole in the side of the ship, Strung. She opens the airlock.
Whatever.
God damn it, have you ever seen a movie?
And then doesn't she somehow, if I can remember correctly, trick it out there? Like she uses herself as bait, or I can't remember.
She runs around in her little panties until the alien goes after her, and then she blows it out the airlock.
No, I'm thinking Avengers Infinity War, where he blows the hole in the side of the ship and he goes through. No, you're right. It is the opening of the pod
Well, they
door.
did that in Aliens 4, and the big disgusting alien hybrid baby that came out of Sigourney Weaver after she humped the alien.
Yeah.
Which, do you remember that scene?
Oh, I remember that.
That was uncomfortably sexual, where it was like, what's going on right now? And they kind of did it in these weird crossfade cuts and fade in and fade out. And she was moaning and rolling around on the alien goo. The next thing you know, there's this big, ugly alien baby coming out.
Ugh.
And then she sucks it through a little bullet hole, and you see its little like blubber getting sucked through, and it's screaming. It's very unsettling. That was Aliens 4 where that happened.
Yeah, I
Not
know.
Alien.
I know.
I think Geiger hits the nail on the head with the nasty textures and the nasty.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I had a Geiger print when I was like a young single man, and I had no idea how many dicks there were in it.
Yes,
until,
so phallic.
Yeah, a girl had to come over to my room, and she was like, "Do you know how many dicks are in your poster?" And I was like, "There's no dicks in my poster. That's the Aliens guy." And she's like, "There's a dick, there's a dick, there's a dick." It was full of dicks.
That's the day Jason became woke.
That was the day I became woke, and I realized no matter how much you like something, it might be full of dicks.
I can understand that. Nah.
Vivian gets it. Where are we? Whose turn is it? Eddie, top 5.
All right, well.
And they're going to be fucking stupid. Like 101 Dalmatians.
Hey, Cruella de Vil's scary.
Yeah, man. That bitch is crazy.
Psychotic women.
Bitches be crazy.
Well, you covered one of them. One of them was the VHS series, so I guess I'll replace it with someone else.
I introduced you to VHS.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
when we were supposed to be working at our job.
There was a lot. And I believe it was the second one. There was one in one of the little movies in there that kind of covered some kind of Asian folklore, like a Japanese folklore or whatnot. Yeah, and that was I played some games where they were pretty insane to where it was fairly similar to that. And me being a gamer, like I played a lot of horror games that just messed me up, and kind of seeing that in another perspective, more intense for me, especially it being in like a found footage kind of way. Also, another thing, again, I do love like found footage movies. So like the Blair Witch Projects, that's one that kind of screwed me up. I don't like walking around like alone in like these forest areas or even the mountains. Like there's a mountain I go hiking right next to my house, and I always get this idea like something's like following me and whatnot. So that really creeps me out. But
there probably is somebody following you. It's some like homeless guy that's gonna jack your wallet.
Yeah, and also the Paranormal Activity movies. Those were always my favorite. They did kind of lose their touch as they kind of went along, but the first one is my favorite only because they
took the horror and they put it in your house.
Yeah,
it wasn't a big scary house on the hill. It was like a normal house in a neighborhood, and that was super scary. And then to think that you can't trust the person you're sleeping next to.
Yeah, that made it more intense.
Which I do not trust the person I sleep next to.
Yeah, and one thing that I like that they did with those movies is they made you aware that something was about to happen. They just didn't, make it obvious when, well, other than the humming noise that was in the background when everything was pretty quiet. And next thing you know, you have like something like fall or slam or just something so basic, And
that ghost was a dick. He just like kept pulling the blankets off. And when you're fucking cold and somebody's pulling your blankets off, I'd be like, "God damn it, ghost! I'm gonna ghost bust your ass as soon as I can."
Don't make me call the Ghostbusters.
Seriously. But then that ghost got dangerous because he was like setting their Ouija boards on fire and shit.
Yeah.
Not cool.
And especially since you can't see the entity. Another thing in the movie, Micah is like putting powder on the floor, and you start to see the footprints kind of just bang, bang, bang. And the thing's like standing right there, and it's just, oh god. So not being able to see it, but I mean seeing some kind of a physical, what would you say, like some kind of physical trace of it being there.
I had a Paranormal Activity situation happen in my house where it left a physical trace. There I was.
Was it a big piece of poop?
God damn it, Sterling! You ruined the punchline every time I try to be funny. Eddie, tell me another scary movie. God damn it!
The Dawn of the Dead movie. I mean, come on. Zombies that are able to run at you.
The new one or the classic one? I assume the new one.
Well, I've never seen the classic one, so yeah.
Of course
the new
you haven't.
The zombies are able to run at you like at full sprint. Like that's just, oh my god, we're screwed. No. If that's the zombie apocalypse, oh god, we're all screwed.
Yeah, you're toast. You're not gonna get away.
Well, what did they say in Zombieland? The first ones to go were the fatties.
Yeah.
Do your cardio.
Yeah, do your cardio. Yep.
Doing those squats once the zombie apocalypse.
What's the movie where they're infected with the rage virus? And
that's 28 days later.
28 days later. That is a good one. I should put that in my top 5.
Yeah, no, that was a really good one.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about too, where like you even get a drop of blood.
Yeah, the little drop that goes into his eye and then it infects him. Yep.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That was like a not zombie movie.
Yes.
All right, a few other ones.
Wait, a few other ones? Have you even given us one yet? You were like, all the Paranormal Activities. There's like 8 of them. So you're done. That's your that's your top 8. Done. All right, no, give us another one.
Well, Jaws alone, but the Piranha movie, and there's one with a crocodile. There's a massive...
Lake Placid.
Is that what? Okay, yeah, whatever that is. Because of those, I just don't trust any lakes or rivers. And
So based
can't get
on
in the
Piranha
water.
and Lake Placid, you're scared to go in Lake Powell.
Pretty much. Right?
Hey, because of Jaws, you're afraid to go into the ocean.
I'm afraid to go in the lake because of Jaws. When I used to go like out on my dad's boat and stuff, and I'd be tubing, and if the water turned black underneath me, I was filling it with poop because I would get so scared. And like I'd fall off the tube. That was the scariest 5 minutes of my life for my dad to like turn the boat around and come back and get me. I'm just like treading water like,
It took him.
oh my God.
It took
oh
him
my God.
5 minutes to get to you.
Yeah, because
That's quite a distance.
Keep driving, you know, and like my mom would be like, Randy fell off. He's like, what?
I guess that's pretty much
About 3 movies when we were asking for a top 5.
fine.
Yes, indeed.
Let's see, what did I already say?
All the
The
VHSs,
VHSs, paranormal movies.
all the paranormal
Oh, dude,
movies,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
all the movies with fish.
Like,
So good.
I'm afraid to travel because of the whole. I'm afraid of breaking down in the middle of the freaking nowhere and fucking getting kidnapped, and I don't know, man. Placed in those situations where you got this fucking lunatic with the fucking chainsaw chasing you.
He only likes hot ladies, though. You're gonna be safe, dude. They don't want you.
Not unless it's the girl from House of a Thousand Corpses.
I don't think I've seen that.
All right. There's another one to see.
Sometimes I don't understand your references, Sterling. You just bring the podcast to an absolute halt. He's like, remember that time in Rainbow Bright?
Rainbow Bright?
What are you talking about?
That's an
Explain
obscure...
yourself.
I'm talking about...
House of a Thousand Corpses. What does that have to do with Eddie was just saying?
You said hot chicks. In reference to the horror films and him and things breaking down.
What hot chicks are in House
Is
of a
that
Thousand
not
Corpses?
what happened in House of a Thousand Corpses? Rob Zombie's daughter, whatever her name is.
Rob Zombie's daughter. God damn it.
That's
That's
his
his wife, and it's Sherry Moon Zombie.
I thought it was his daughter.
Oh no, that'd be his wife.
Okay,
He does
then.
it again, folks. How does he do it?
Hey, at least we're off the Finding Nemo.
Oh my God.
Damn. It's-
Sterling, give us the top 5 before I kick you out.
I don't know if I want
off
to
this
now.
podcast.
You're just gonna find something wrong with my top 5.
It's not hard.
Okay, number 1 is Finding Nemo. Number 2 is Finding Dory. Number 1 is The Shining, obviously. One of the movies that really scared the crap out of me a while back was The Fourth Kind. That kind of goes into both found footage and, regular story stuff. But that movie scared the crap out of me. The whole idea of alien abduction and them, I don't like to use the word scrambling your brain, but basically giving you false memories. It's like where you see the alien, but you think you just saw an owl, when in reality it was an alien abducting you and performing these horrible experiments on you. That movie scared me. The movie White Noise with Michael Keaton scared me because I've had EVP experiences where you're... Yeah, see, Jason's smiling right now. Gonna try and find something wrong with what I gotta say. Look, I've had paranormal experiences before. Weird shit happens out there in radio and in broadcast stuff. It happens. Whether or not it's just weird glitches or whether it's something else, who knows? But the fact that it does sometimes happen and you're in the right conditions for it to scare the crap out of you, and then you see a movie like that, of course it's gonna scare you. So I've had that kind of thing happen, and that's why White Noise scared me. These ones aren't really scary so much as they're like horror comedies. Love Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, I like
Love Shaun of the Dead. I also loved Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
That was an instant classic.
That the first time I saw that movie, I was rolling on the floor, just so funny. And they took every cliched elements of, the crazy rednecks, you think of the movie Deliverance, but really these guys just want to make this summer home into something, and there's so much wrong in the house that could cause all these problems, and they do. I mean, it's just such a funny horror movie. Yeah, it's on Netflix. Take a look at it. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I actually got to meet Alan Tudyk, who is one of the rednecks. He's a nice guy. I just wanted to throw that out there, but that would probably be my top 5 as far as my favorite horror films. One movie I would say, kind of just a quick little note here, obscure movies that people might not know about, obscure horror movies to kind of throw out there for people to take a look at. The movie that scared me when I was little was Fire in the Sky.
Yeah, that movie, the last 5 minutes of it was scary.
No, for me, the whole thing was scary.
Seeing D.B. Sweeney naked in the woods was really scary.
He wasn't naked in the woods. He was naked in the alien craft.
I'm not familiar. Is that another Alien meets horror movie?
Yeah, that happened like here in the White Mountains.
Oh.
Yeah,
This dude was abducted.
That
It's one
was
of the most famous like documented abductions because 5 people saw it happen.
Oh, you know what? I'm familiar with the story. I didn't know there was a movie about it.
The name of the guy that was abducted was Travis Walton. And it stars D.B. Sweeney, and I can't for the life of me remember his name, but he was
Patrick.
Robert Patrick. Thank you. Yeah, he was T1000.
Well, and he was brought back, right? But he was never the same after that, I think.
No, they did so much stuff to his butt.
They always do stuff to.
Why is that? If they're so advanced, why are they doing stuff with our butts?
That's a valid question.
It is a valid question, right? Eddie, why are they doing stuff to our butts?
If you want to know what...
Like the forbidden fruit? I don't know, man.
You think the aliens came all the way across the universe?
You say forbidden...
For the forbidden fruit?
Are they going after dingleberries?
That sounds to me like a human thing. Like if you were going to fuck with your friends, like get a spaceship and like put bright lights in the sky and stuff, and then like take your buddy up on the thing and like stick a pool cue in his ass and stuff and be like, oh, we're aliens. Don't tell anybody about us. All right, go back to Earth. And then he's all like, dude, the craziest thing happened the other night.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I think VR is the future of horror. I think that we're going to, just like with the classic horror movies, you watch that stuff, and you're like, that stuff's not scary anymore because we've got stuff that's so much more intense, so much more bloody and disgusting. I think our kids are going to look back and be like, you were afraid of a movie on a screen that just you watched it and you thought that was scary. Like they're going to be in the horror experience, and that's what VR is going to do. And I've already seen it starting with like the new the PlayStation VR has Resident Evil 7, and I mean you're literally in the horror movie experience. That adds all kinds of questions of like how far is too far with the entertainment that they can give you. And I mean you could give somebody a heart attack in a situation like where you feel like you're there and you're being scared. But I think that's the way everything's going. I think entertainment, music, it's all going to be interactive, and it's all going to be all around us instead of something that we watch or listen to. We're going to start experiencing things in a whole new way.
I'm just hoping that it does go in the direction of VR, because that type of immersiveness, like that's baller status, man.
Yeah.
Every town has an Elm Street.
Yes, we should
Mad
give
Monster Party.
We should give props to that because we went there today to get inspired for this podcast, and it was a very cool event. We met some of our biggest heroes. I got to meet William Forsythe, Michael Biehn, who were very cool guys and talked to me for quite a while.
We should probably explain who these guys are for those that don't know who they are.
If you're listening to this podcast, you should know who those guys are.
I know there's some that don't.
You might not belong here. I'm just saying.
Ouch.
Go ahead, Sterling. Michael Biehn
is the original Kyle Reese from the first Terminator movie.
Cyborgs don't feel pain. I do. Don't do that again. Just let me go. Listen and understand that Terminator is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop, ever, until you are dead.
He did a fantastic job as Kyle Reese, and I even remember as we were walking, we looked over, I just went, Jason, it's Kyle Reese, it's Kyle Reese. I got excited. It was so cool, and I think the best part about this event, compared to something like the Comic-Cons, these guys had their tables where you could actually just go up and actually talk to them and shake their hands.
Yeah, they were accessible.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Unlike some of the other festivals where you have to pay just to be able to get up to them. It's like, okay, you want a photo and you want an autograph, you need to pay first. You can't get near them. You can't talk to them. It's like, well, that sucks.
I tried to take a picture of Lance Hendrickson though, and his handler got very upset, and she tried to get my attention and tell me that I couldn't do that. So I pretended like I was just sending a text and like I didn't actually snap a picture. But then Eddie fucked it up and was like, Jason, that lady's trying to tell you something. And I was like, shut up, Eddie, god damn it.
You still didn't get the picture.
I still didn't get the picture. I got a picture of the fucking side of the table.
That's okay though.
Good enough.
Because we got video of you talking with your hero.
So you got a picture of like my big back fat with Michael being kind of scaredly.
I got you talking to him.
Vivian Vengeance was talking to him, and he was interested in what she had to say and what she was wearing.
They were just talking about traffic too, like just the traffic.
I know, and then I butted in. I was like, "Hi, you were in Terminator. You were into Aliens, and you're my biggest hero."
I saw the window and I took it, and I went over there and I just kind of leaned over the table a little bit much and was like, well, hello, what are you doing? All by your lonesome over here. Literally what I said.
Yeah, I know, you certainly got his attention, and I noticed that.
Maybe not quite as creepily as that, though.
I was trying to not be a fanboy, and then Sterling was like, hey, guess what, Michael Biehn? You're Jason's hero from when he was a kid, and he loves you. He wants to kiss you.
I didn't say it in those words.
You said it almost that bad, and I felt like a total dipshit.
I said he won't admit it, but you're his hero.
Like, he has a poster of you above his bed. And
I didn't say any of that.
When he looks at it.
Well, you did have your fly open. So.
I did have my fly open, dude. I felt the cold draft, and all of a sudden the alien was out of the chest.
And he noticed halfway through the convention, maybe?
Yeah.
I think that was a fun part. So
all those girls there were showing side boob though, so I wanted to show a little side hog so I could
fit
be
right
like
in?
everybody else. Yeah, fit right in. I didn't have enough tattoos, so I had
fit
to do
right
something.
in. No pun intended.
When you're not fitting in, pull your ding dong out.
Oh, gross. So why don't we mention all the people that we did get to see there? Maybe not necessarily that we get to talk to. We saw, I can't remember his name, but the guy that played Andy in Child's Play, he was there. He even had one of the Chucky dolls with him. In Child's Play 2, the babysitter, she was there as well. We got to see her. William Forsythe, obviously, he was in Devil's Rejects. He was the sheriff.
He was so cool too.
He was really nice.
He always plays such an asshole in movies, but he was like the nicest dude ever.
Yeah.
So down to earth, so chill.
Yeah. He's just there in like his little black shorts and his flip flops too.
I loved when he was saying, "Gravity is cruel. Gravity is cruel." Oh my god.
Gravity is cruel to some of those folks. Like you see those pictures of them from the '80s, and then you're like, what happened?
That's true. But
of course, if you look at pictures of me in the '80s, you're like, oh,
what
man,
happened?
How did he get so sexy when he got older?
I was gonna say what happened, but
I'm like Harrison Ford. I just get sexier and gruffer as I get older.
It's the Clint Eastwood effect. So we were able to get pictures with William Forsythe as well as some autographs. Jason, why don't you tell him what was on your autograph picture?
He used one of the deepest cuts. That was the thing. We were in like deep cut zone. Every sticker, every shirt was a deep cut from a horror movie, and
That's
I was
true.
just in freaking heaven. But William Forsythe wrote, he signed a Raising Arizona picture for me and wrote, "Do these come in any funny shapes at all?"
Hey, these blow up into funny shapes at all?
Well, no, unless round is funny.
Which is just fucking beautiful.
Hey, he signed one for me too, and it said "Walk the Line," and he signed his name, and that was one of the lines he used in The Devil's Rejects.
Vivian, what was your favorite part of the HorrorCon?
William Forsythe.
Forsythe.
Foreskin.
He would say that. He was just so cool, so down to earth. And I still need to see Raising Arizona, admittedly, which once these guys found out, oops.
I was ashamed to be your friend after I found out you hadn't seen Raising Arizona.
I know.
And
it's
you're
on
on
my list.
a movie podcast out seeing Raising Arizona.
It's on my list. It's on my list. Everyone has that one. Come on now.
Your list better have like 2 movies, and number 1 is Raising Arizona.
Maybe.
You live in Arizona, for Christ's sakes, and you haven't seen Raising Arizona?
I know. I'm so uncultured.
Eddie, when you were at the Comic-Con, you just looked like a lost child walking around, looking at scary things. I could tell there was no recognition whatsoever when I'd point people out that were famous or they were stars.
Pretty much on the daily that I have no idea who the heck they are, but at the convention, there was a lot of faces I didn't recognize, and luckily I had you kind of telling me, who these people were and whatnot. Because a lot of it, a lot of the movies came out when I was really, really, really young. And
you're still really, really young. What are you talking about?
I'm still really young, but
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Thanks for listening.
To Sterling and Jason arguing.
You guys have any stories to share? Send them our way.
If you want to vote anybody off the podcast,
Jason.
Yeah, let us know. We want to hear what you think. So hit us up on all the bullshits at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're at Talking Poop on Twitter. Talking Poop Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. You can also download us at Spotify, Google Play, and iTunes.
Ooh.
We're going to see you guys next time.
Go see some horror films.
A Quiet Place. See you.
Definitely A Quiet Place.
I got nothing.
That's it.